Summary of the book, Coach Builder by Donald Miller. Create a menu of products. That means you really need to think about how you're going to monetize your coaching business, whether it's selling just one-on-one coaching, selling digital courses, selling masterminds, and you really want to focus on premium prices. Examples include assessments, workshops, masterminds, retreats. You want to create a list of prospects. That's primarily going to be an email list that you build over time. Get your website sales pitch right. Write emails that close deals. This is going to be doing automated nurturing through email programs, and create at least 12 helpful emails that include tips, tools, and strategies. You also want to think about having a marketing and product ladder. So a marketing ladder is where you're gaining people's trust, and a product ladder is where you enable people that already bought from you to continue to get more value from you by buying more expensive product offerings. So for example, Dan Locke gives away tip sheets for free, which he advertises through Facebook. Then he upsells you to a $50 product and eventually upsells you to products that are going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. A lot of people, I've noticed, really try to push this idea that you need a high ticket offer, a very expensive product. But I think this approach, this Dan Locke approach, is actually the smartest, because you're able to help more people, and you're also able to sell something to people that can't necessarily afford to pay thousands of dollars, but also help the people more deeply who can afford to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, rather than just focusing on high ticket. And lastly, join/make a coaching community. Now, I also want to point out the 4 biggest takeaways that I got from reading this book. Number 1, nurture for weeks, months, or even years. The number 1 predictor of whether or not you will grow your coaching business is whether or not you continue to send emails after the other coaches have stopped. Number 2, the main question any potential client is going to have is, will this work for me? So that means you need to spend a lot of time proving that you understand their problem and providing things like case studies and testimonials to assure them that yes, you can help them specifically. 3, our communities are our greatest predictors of success in ways that we're not even fully aware of. So humans being very communal beings, we're influenced by those around us. So we want to surround ourselves with people that are going to elevate us and move us in the direction we want to go. So that would be like a coaching community. And number 4, 50% of your coaching work is listening, understanding, and verifying you understand your client's problem. So when I ran an agency many years ago, I realized that this was what I spent a lot of time doing, was just fully understanding what it was that the clients wanted, what their objectives were, and indeed, that's a very effective approach. So now we're going to get into more detail on what he's recommending here. So create a menu of products. You're going to have lead gen products, like lead magnets is what Dan Kennedy would call them. And then we're going to move those prospects into entry-level products that they pay for. So that could be maybe like a $250 consultation or something. And then we're going to move them into a flagship product. This is the main product where we're going to make most of our money. And then we're going to start promoting other products that we have. So for example, a life planning workshop, one-on-one coaching. You want to get specific about what you offer and how it will produce a return on investment for the client. You want to solve a specific problem. So write down the problems your perfect client has, make a list. You can certify people to coach others to create a kitchen garden. This is an example that led to a 7-figure garden consulting business. You could have a small business optimization program, which is 6 months with bi-monthly coaching calls. You could have a management and operations overhaul, 6 months fractional COO services, how to close big sales workshop, which is just a 1-day sales training where you could make maybe $5,000. You could have a product profitability audit. That's a 1-day consultation. Weekly one-on-one, double your revenue coaching, a 6-month marketing overhaul. Basically, all of these are examples of products that coaches can sell. Coaches don't just have to sell their time at an hourly rate. It can be packaged in these various ways. You want to create one flagship product that offers extreme value. And here's an example of this. It is a small group with $5,000 fee per client that's part of that group. You have a timeline that you provide for the group. You have a checklist of things for them to do to hold them accountable. You meet weekly for an hour. You teach them frameworks. and you hold them accountable to actually achieving those things that were in the checklist, things that they talked about in the last week's call. Offer one-time coaching calls that deliver value, then invite the client to join your next small group. So you have like an entry-level product, but then eventually you're trying to get them into this flagship product, this small group. Now, product funnel. You have an entry-level product that leads to more valuable product. For example, it could be a free 60-minute consultation or assessment that eventually tries to segue into a 6-month coaching engagement. Your first one-time engagement should generally be less than 90 minutes, and you want to reveal and address problems the clients have to provide clarity as to why they need a coach. Focus on solving a clear and pressing problem and charge $0 to $495 for that initial session, for that entry-level product. You could have a monthly retainer fee for a hybrid model of masterminds and one-on-one coaching. And here are some examples of lead gen products that help get people into your email list and eventually into your entry-level product. A one-page hiring plan, the perfect presentation outline, small business cash flow playbook, the marketing and messaging review. This is a 90-minute assessment of the effectiveness of your website and marketing, where you walk the client through a checklist of must-haves. You could have a one-on-one coaching retainer that's $12,000. You could have a guiding principles workshop, which is 1 day and you charge $5,000 to $10,000. A marketing strategy workshop where you go through things like creating a landing page and lead generators and emails for nurturing. That's $5,000 to $10,000. $150,000 could be achieved in 6 months. And here's an example, a menu of things that you could offer to get to $150,000 in 6 months. 2 consultations per month at $500 could be $12,000 total, depending on how many clients you have. You could have one flagship 6-month small group with 20 members, each of whom is paying $5,000. So that's your $100,000. So your flagship is really driving the bulk of the revenue here. 3 one-on-one coaching clients at $1,000 per month is $36,000. 4 one-off workshops at $5,000 each is $20,000. So already you've hit $168,000 based on 6 months work. Now, if you really want to build a 1 million or more revenue coaching business, that's going to require hiring coaches to work under you most likely, or doing things like hosting a large conference and doing upsells to things like expensive workshops. Don't reduce your prices or you're going to reduce your perceived value. Value is associated with price, especially with coaching and consulting. So for example, the author doubled his speaking price, and this actually led to an increase in speaking requests, which is not what you would expect with supply and demand. You would think if the price goes down, the demand would go up. That's not the case with high value consulting. Okay, so now moving into the next section. So what we were talking about at this point was just creating a menu of products and the various types of products and pricing points. Now creating, manage a potential client list of potential buyers for those products. So make sure you get clarity on who you're going after. Is it plumbers, florists, digital content creators, social media influencers? Build an email list. Nurture the emails and also send sales emails. So don't just provide education. You also need to push people to buy. Remind followers that you are a business coach. In other words, that they can pay you. Send emails that offer free value. List 20 challenges that your clients face that you solve and create emails that offer solutions. Make direct offers to push your introductory product that segues into your flagship product. Deliver keynotes, so big presentations and webinars to secure new leads. In your 3rd or 4th email, you could have a questionnaire about pain points. So pain points could be more revenue, paying too much tax, marketing strategy isn't working, losing market share to competition, not sure how to talk about what we offer, and need serious help getting the word out. In your emails, list coaching products and drive traffic to your landing page. Give away the why, but sell the how. Don't give away the full answers for free. A lot of people recommend that you can talk a lot about strategy when you're educating people, but when it comes to implementation and those sorts of details, you might want to refrain from doing that. Demonstrate transformation in your nurture emails, because ultimately that's what you're selling, is a transformation. And people are going to be like, oh, I want that transformation too. I want what Ted achieved, or I want what this other entrepreneur in my industry achieved. Nurture campaign, help prospects diagnose and feel their problems. Through your nurturing automated emails, you want to build familiarity and trust. Make sure you use the PS. It's a little bonus that people are going to pay a large amount of attention to. Define 3 areas in which you deliver the best possible results. Come up with 3 repeatable questions you can ask prospects to help them realize they have the problems that you solve. Position yourself and your product as solutions to that problem. Is your marketing working, or are you struggling to get the word out about what you offer? This is an example how you can use copywriting to really clarify the problem that your clients have and setting your products up as the solution. Here's an example of an email formula for starting your business in coaching. Have a greeting and announcement for new or growing coaching business. List the main problems you help people solve. Have a testimony of success, a client solving 1 or more problems. Have a call to action and a request for referral. So even if they're not interested, maybe they know another business owner or executive who could use help. Give presentations at conferences. Start presentation talking about a problem that you solve. So for example, over 80% of small business owners will be surprised by a tax bill this year. That would be the hook or the opener to your presentation. Feature a lead generator in the middle of your presentation and at the end. So a 1-page template, for example. And at the very end of your presentation, restate the problem that you solve. Deliver webinars and offer free assessment. So what we're talking about here is building a client list. So now we're going to move on to more details about getting your website sales pitch right. You can have a PDF with free valuable information and an email selling a coaching product afterwards, after you've generated that lead. Capture that email. Mention how what you offer can make your future clients' lives better. Offer a discovery call, and the way you would promote it on a website might look something like this. Small business owners often fail for one of 6 reasons. You can avoid these pitfalls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you list the 6 pitfalls. These 6 issues are the root cause of most small business disasters. Coaching will help you professionalize your operations so your small business grows. And then there's a call to action. Schedule a discovery call. Paint a picture of what their life is going to look like if they hire you as a coach. So again, you're selling transformation. So really allow people to imagine that transformation, imagine that future. I think of it as the book Cashvertising, where the first experience people really have of a product is in their mind. So you want to create that vivid picture. Purchase options that you may have on your website. Do-it-yourself small business flight school, $2,500. Register now. And then you could have another product next to it. Small business flight school mastermind, $5,000. Register now. Sales training workshop, $7,500. Book a workshop. Offer proof of value. These could be statistics about client success. For example, 90% of people that go through this coaching program end up with a 25% lift in their monthly recurring revenue, something like that. And remember, the client is the hero struggling with the problem. Your product is not the hero. You're not the hero. You are the guide. The client is the hero. They're the center of the story. You could offer a free assessment, and here's an example of how you'd promote that. Your title could be, take my 12-minute assessment and get a custom plan to grow your business. The body below that could be, did you know your small business has 6 parts, and each of those must be strong in order for your business to grow? What kind of shape is your business in? Click below to find out, and then there's a call to action. Take the assessment. So you have lead generators, and you use those to segue into nurturing with weekly emails. So emails that are sent once per week. All right, now we're going to move into how to write great emails that close a deal. And the main thing you need to keep in mind is that hiring a coach is not an impulse decision. It's not buying a Snickers bar. It's not buying some random thing you saw in a Facebook ad. It's, I maybe have been thinking about this for a while, and then I encounter a problem in my business or in my life, and it's like, hey, you know what? I need a coach at this point, and that might not be until 6-12 months in the future after I've heard about you. Familiarity doesn't happen fast, and that's really what you're doing, and that's in my opinion, one of the most important psychological principles in marketing is just familiarity. People like things that are familiar. That's why people buy brands even when the product quality maybe isn't that great. They like it because it's familiar. Trust is really acquired by providing value over time, and you do that largely through email nurture. So send emails for 6, 12, even 52 weeks. And then people will hire you when their problems or frustrations trigger them to make a decision. That's what we call a category entry point or a trigger. And that's really when people go in market to buy something like coaching. Lead generators help them move to the next step. So examples of lead generators are 5 things your website should include, a video series that's 5-minute marketing makeover, PDFs, podcasts, webinars, live events, mini courses. Lead generator types, so categories, a checklist, a worksheet. So for example, I have a SaaS positioning worksheet. I have a 1-page product marketing plan template. I have a 1-page competitive analysis template. These are all lead generators that are able to get people onto my email list for nurturing. You can offer an assessment. You can offer an interview with someone famous or someone they respect a lot. You could offer a solution article. For example, 10 reasons you're paying too much in taxes. Examples of an email structure. Start with the problem, position your product as the solution, bridge from the customer's problem to your solution, explain the negative stakes. So what happens if they do nothing? What happens if they don't hire a coach? Explain the positive stakes, so the outcomes, the future, and then have a call to action. Start with 7 sales emails. So they're just trying to get people to buy from you, and then segue into a nurture campaign after that. This is following basically the model that Salesforce had originally used for email nurturing, which is that you start at the bottom of the funnel, the people that are ready to buy, and only once you've kind of tried to capture that do you move on to nurturing, which is going to impact the people that will buy in the future. Follow-up emails. Shows you are paying attention to their need, have empathy and authority. So this is one of the most important things. You want to keep reiterating that you understand their problem. You are focused on their problem. Emails. There are 7 major types to think about here. There's the good to meet you email, the thank you and clarification, the empathy and competence email, testimony email, overcome objection email, time is running out email, and then the final reminder email. In these emails, you could have a call to action like schedule a Zoom call with me here. You may need to remind people, hey, you know what? You can get consulting from me. You can get coaching from me. I can help you with this problem. My revenue has increased by 57% after being in Jim's small group. So this is an example of a testimonial evidence to get people to buy from you, to build trust. You can have 6 emails that are just about trying to sell one product, like that small group. Nurture for weeks, months, and years. Again, I have to reiterate, coaching is not an impulse purchase, so you need to remind people you are a coach and can be called on if they run into problems. This increases the likelihood of your email overlapping with a future problem that they encounter. They're not going to have the problem immediately when you email them. In most cases, it's going to happen sometime in the future. That's why you need to extend your emails, your recency, and your frequency over time. Remind people simply that you exist and have 1 email per week. Types of nurture emails. Problem solution. 5 meetings you need to manage your small business. Here's how they did it email, a case study with a testimonial. Step-by-step email, for example, 3 steps to hiring a virtual assistant. Introduction to expert email, and a sales email. Next section, map out your client journey by creating a marketing and product ladder. Clients are asking, how will I make payroll? How am I going to save for retirement? How can I save on taxes? How can I work fewer hours but get more done? So really be empathetic and understand their problem first. Make clients feel you have something they need, and what they need is a peaceful, organized mind when it comes to building a business. So let's talk about this 10% rule for a second. So let's say you're selling a $100 product. Maybe it's a digital course. You might get 1,000 buyers for that. Now let's say you have a $1,000 product. Maybe it's a monthly retainer or something for coaching. You might get 100 buyers. And if you have a $10,000 product, you might only get 10 buyers. So that would be something like an in-depth workshop. So you can see here that you really maximize your revenue by hitting each of these price points, the $100, the $1,000, the $10,000, and you want to provide people the opportunity to spend more with you to get more value out of you. Don't just limit the market to people that are willing to pay $100 or just the people that are willing to spend $10,000. You want that full ladder. So at the top of the ladder, we have things like fractional COO or one-day workshop, one-to-one coaching. In the middle of the ladder, intro workshops, webinars, one-off coaching. And at the bottom of the ladder, things like free lead gen events, nurture emails, lead generators, things that are offered on your website, etc. And something to keep in mind is that a lot of employees have something like $2,000 in professional development fees. So keep that in mind and push that where it's appropriate. All right, some other last notes to close off here. Most people who try to create a community never get past the second or third awkward meeting because people aren't opening up and sharing anything of value. Humans are communal. The better the communities, the more impactful their work. You want members talking to each other. 50% of your coaching work is listening, understanding, and verifying you understand your client's problem. 40% of your work is affirming the client is not alone in their problem. And only 10% of your work as a coach is offering advice, frameworks, playbooks that solve problems. And that's something we need to keep in mind is when people come to us with their problems, a lot of the time they're not always looking for advice or a solution, at least not right away. And that's true as much in our personal lives as it is in our professional lives. The real bulk of your work is just confirming that you understand, that you're empathetic, that you get the problem. And then the little 10% is really about the implementation or addressing that problem. Give members frameworks, training. So for example, training videos, assignments, and hold them accountable to completing the assignments. To scale into the millions will probably require sacrifices and is going to mean maybe that you're spending less time reading books and educating people one-on-one. It's more about hiring people, building departments, getting coaches under you to do the work. So it's really just building like a traditional business with departments, like a marketing department, operations department, events management, etc. So it's going to center a lot around having a hiring plan with clear job descriptions. That's what scaling looks like when you get into the millions. And the last point here is that the point of coaching is the transformation of the hero, and that hero is the client.